Hello everyone, tis I, King Chuck, aka Charming Charlie. Yes, some people think that Charming Charlie was named after me, but that's not totally the truth. And welcome to the Crossroads Mall in Portage, Michigan, just outside Kalamazoo. The mall got its name for the fact that it is close to the highways of US 131 and I-94. Here's a little history lesson of the Crossroads. It was built in 1980, and it was originally owned by a company called Westcor. And Westcor had some help from Dayton Hudson Corporation, which owned Hudson's department store at the time, in building the mall. Of course, the story is that Hudson's department store, based in Detroit, and the Dayton department store chain, based out of Minneapolis and St. Paul, merged and became Dayton Hudson. And as a little boy, I remember that they were one of the big sponsors of Reading Rainbow. Remember that show? LeVar Burton teaching kids cool stories and all that good stuff. Oh man, I loved that show when I was a kid. The Crossroads is not a really big mall. It's only about, I think it's like 770,000 square feet. It's not a huge mall, but it is Michigan's first indoor shopping mall, two-story shopping mall that was built outside of Detroit. And it's probably the only mall in West Michigan outside of Grand Rapids that's actually doing quite well. It is owned by Brookfield Properties. What happened was Westcor sold the mall to General Growth Properties in 1999. And, of course, GGP not too long ago became owned and operated by Brookfield, which, of course, also owns what used to be Rouse Properties, which is kind of odd because Rouse was a spinoff of GGP, if maybe you could recall. In my honest opinion, before I move on with more opinions, the original anchors were Hudson's and J.C. Penney. And of course, 2 years later, Sears was added on. And then in 89, a fourth anchor, Mervyn's, was added on as well. And Mervyn's only lasted at the mall for like 20 years. And of course, it then became Burlington Coat Factory. This mall is extremely successful. It's probably one of the very few malls in West Michigan that does extremely well. Oh, look, the Easter rabbit is at the mall. Yes, perfect for Easter. Yes. Hey, kid, what do you want for Easter? Yeah, what a way to get people into the malls. It's like everyone is now doing this. The Easter bunny coming to the mall. You know, because, hey, it's all about those shopper dollars, right? Right. There were only a few vacancies that I saw in the mall. This is a well-kept mall. And even Sears is still open at this mall, which is phenomenal. It's a two-story Sears as well. It's only one of two Sears stores in West Michigan. The other, of course, being at Rivertown Crossings near Grand Rapids. And by the way, with a little quick editing, I am now on the second floor. Hey! Don't you love magic? Okay, so now here I am on floor number 2. And it's also where the food court is. Now, this mall did make headlines recently when it was announced that the Carousel was leaving Crossroads due to the fact that apparently the Carousel was actually leased by somebody else. And they decided not to renew the lease with the mall, and so they decided to take their business elsewhere. Now, here's something that was kind of funny. I walked in front of Auntie Anne's, and as you can tell, somebody tried to give away some free pretzels, and I refused. You know what happened to me before I came to this mall? I went to the local Hopcat, and I highly recommend Hopcat. It is one of the best restaurant chains that's just exploding. And obviously that was an old jewelry store. And also the Victoria's Secret looks like just got remodeled. It's got the light pink, purple outline to the exterior of their stores. And that to me says that was a recent remodel. And usually it's Victoria's Secret's way of saying, yeah, this mall's got a future. And I agree. So, anyway, back to the rest of the story. Hopcat, of course, recently made headlines themselves because they changed, their specialty was the crack fries. And they decided to change it to cosmic fries only because, some people thought crack fries was just too much offensive. So, I knew there was a Charlotte Russe in this portion of the mall. I think it's the store directly to the right now. Of course, Charlotte Russe recently went bankrupt and closed all their stores. Later on, you're also going to see a Payless that was still open. I filmed this on Friday, the 19th of April in 2019. FYE is still there. I think I actually visited this mall in, I think 2001. And I also visited the other mall that Kalamazoo had at the time, which was Maple Hill, which was demolished and turned into an outdoor strip. And Maple Hill was dying big time at the time. And while this mall is doing still very phenomenally, it just shows that Kalamazoo can only support one mall and one good mall. We are now. I'm going to admit to you, the food court of this mall is kind of disappointing. There's only like maybe 6 restaurants in the whole food court, but it's spacious. And if you look, there are a few other businesses, including that Provision right there. And I don't know why they couldn't just put more restaurants in there. That's probably something. But straight ahead was the remnants of the Carousel, but at least they put something in called the Tot Lot, which is like a little kids center and whatever. And it was just before dinner time, so it wasn't quite dinner time yet, so it wasn't packed. And there it is, folks, the remnants of the old Carousel at Crossroads Mall in Portage, Michigan. And ladies and gentlemen, a moment of silence to mourn the loss of the Carousel. Well, by the way, if you looked ahead, there was a Celebration Cinema too, right next to the theater, which is nice. But the mall also has a fountain. You don't see many fountains in malls anymore, even though it looked like it was not necessarily designed entirely for the mall itself. But there were a lot of coins in there, people making up wishes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole mall, the whole kit and caboodle of the Crossroads Mall. Like I said, it's not a big mall. It's only not even 800,000 square feet, but it's a nice mall for a town its size. It's got a lot of good stores in there, and I think this mall will last well into the future. At least it's doing 1 trillion times better than that piece of crap mall in Battle Creek, Lakeview Square. Oh my God. Of course, if you watched my Lakeview Square video, you'd understand why it is dying. No anchors at all. Well, this mall, you know, all 4 anchors are intact, and even Sears is still there. And of course, even Payless is still there, at least for now. If you look, and even Gap is still there. In Grand Rapids, both Gap stores in both the big malls in Grand Rapids closed. And I don't really know why. Maybe it was just because so they could focus on the store at the outlet mall south of town. But I will say, you know, Crossroads has a future ahead, and guess who's ahead of me? A Blart! Quick, run, Chuck! Nah, not with my trusty camera. Not today, Blart. Not today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. And I want to thank you for watching. I got another mall video hopefully coming your way pretty soon. Take care.